Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. Also welcome to my June 2024 reading wrap-up. I read only 8 books in June. I added 25 books to my June TBR and I ended up reading only 8. Because June was a weird month for me, and that is in keeping with the theme of 2024, it feels like. That's not to say that it's not a respectable number. It is a great number, but it's not the number that I wanted it to be. But I was also in the middle of 7 other books when June ended, and one of them I finished at the beginning of this month. And I'm really happy with the kind of books that I've chosen. Only a little sad that I wasn't able to finish them when I thought I would finish them. So I'll just quickly run through the books that I was reading when June started. First and second are obviously, you know these, David Copperfield and The Transition Baby. I'm like ashamed at this point that I haven't made progress in them. But it's not going to happen in June, at least David Copperfield, and maybe it is going to get postponed. And then the Buzzwordathon pick for June 2024, which was to read books with titles which have repeating words in them, and for that I chose Bahut Dur Kitna Dur Hota Hai by Manav Kaul. I think I'm 20% into the book. Even though the writing is beautiful, I'm not able to move forward, but I will get it done this month, that's for sure. Then I'm also reading Daughters of the Sun by Ira Mukhoti. It is so dense with information that I have to take it like 5% at a time, so that's why it's taking such a long time, but I will get it done. I will get that done in this month as well. And then I started reading Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida B.K. Mide, but somehow I read 28 pages. I think it was just the first chapter, and then I put it aside and I never picked it back up. But even though it's a carryover, I'm going to start reading it again, so maybe it's not going to happen this month, but it will happen in August or September, that's for sure. And then Anyone's Ghost by August Thompson. I am about 42% into this book, and it's a sort of a coming of age story, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm hoping to finish reading it in the next couple of days after filming this video, so keeping my fingers crossed for that. And then there was also another book that I filmed for the Reading Booktuber Favorites video. Anyway, so those were my carryovers, and the books that I completed reading in June, there were 8 of them, as I've already mentioned before. A few of these books I've done video reviews of or reading vlogs for on some platform or the other. If you'd like to go check those out, I will link them up here as well as in the description box below. So if you'd like my detailed reviews and thoughts about those particular books, then I'd recommend you go and watch those videos as well. For now, I'm going to try and keep it as succinct as possible. So without any further ado, let's dive right into this video and let me share with you the 8 books that I read in June 2024. My first read for June 2024 was not part of my June TBR, and that book was Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, and this is such a fantastic novella. It is set in a small Irish town around Christmas time, and it follows Bill Furlong, but we also see in the background so many important topics. This is historical fiction. I think it's set in the 1980s, and it explores the truth of the influence of the church and how often this influence worked towards silencing women, especially single mothers, with the whole sword of chastity hung over their heads. And it then points out how society is complicit, and in this whole war, one's own battle with one's conscience when one is confronted with all these truths. It is fabulous, it is hard-hitting, it is emotional, and I didn't think that a book this thin could smack me over the head like this. Read Small Things Like These. And I cannot wait to see the show or the movie, I can't remember which is coming out. It stars Cillian Murphy, and what a choice. Next was a surprise favorite which I absolutely loved, and that is We Are the Quarry, Fate is a Hunter by Prasad and Shubhada Godbole, and this is such a lovely, lovely, lovely book. This is by ex-sailor couple Prasad and Shubhada Godbole, and they talk about all their experiences, be it at sea, be it on land, be it raising their daughter, and there's a whole other host of stories and anecdotes. There are 25 of them, and they have just done a wonderful, wonderful job. It's so homely and warm, and it's like our favorite next door neighbors telling us stories. Like, you'll find everybody at their house because they are so popular. The kids are there because they are fun to be around, to play with. Teenagers are there because they understand them, and then middle-aged people are there because they are fun to chat with and they have such strong opinions and they are so intelligent, and it's a whole experience, this book. There's so much wit and humor and laughter and emotion. I felt a lot of it. I've done a full review of this book. If you'd like to go check it out, link will be here as well as in the description box below. If you are contemplating buying this and reading this, I'm 100% behind you. Read it. I was about to say read it, buy it, but buy it, read it. You'll have the time of your life, I promise. And then I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the first in the series by Holly Jackson, and this was a fun read. I flew through this book, but I also thought that, okay, review later, first what it's about. So this is the story of Pippa Fitz-Amobi, and she is a senior in high school and she's doing her final year project. So for that project, she has decided to look into an old case, an old cold case, in which Andy Bell, who was very popular in the town they lived in, she was allegedly killed by Sal Singh. Now that she's decided to do this, things are coming out into the open that is about to put her and everyone around her, including Sal's brother Ravi, in danger. So what is Pip going to do about this, and will she be able to cover the truth, because there are forces that are much more dangerous than she could ever have imagined at play. So it is a fun read because there's so much banter in here, especially between Pip and Ravi, and it's funny as well, and I laughed out in a lot of places. But I felt like the story and the plot points that happened at some places were too convenient. Like, it was getting solved too easily, it felt like to me. I was really apprehensive at those points, thinking that, okay, this twist is going to come, that twist is going to come, but they didn't, and I'm glad that it got solved because closure. I really enjoyed that part. At least I enjoyed the book for a large part, not just this particular part that it got closure or something, but somehow there is that something missing from this book for me personally. I still gave it 4 stars, which is very good. The next book that I read was Everything We Left Behind, the second in the Everything series by Kerry Lonsdale. I read Everything We Keep in May and I liked it, but it was also a little bit like too long-winded for my liking, and it just didn't make its point effectively. It kept going over and over and over and over and over some things, and I was like, just stop. But I still read this book because I had it and I was really interested to know what was going to happen. But since this is the sequel, I don't want to give away much about it, except for the fact that this is from James's perspective. James is Amy's fiance who was considered dead in a boating accident in Mexico. That's all I can say. But this, I must say, was much better than the first one. There was so much more thought put into this book about what James must be feeling, about what the people around him must be feeling and the like, and I like this much more than Everything We Keep. I think this one I gave 3.75 stars or something, and maybe I'll continue the series, but then again, I don't want to read the next book because of the person it's from the perspective of. So this next book is my least favorite book of the month, and that is The Last Time She Saw Him by Kate White. And this was a 1 star for me. It was that bad, and this is a murder mystery of sorts, and the main character has dumped her fiance, and it's been 5 months since she broke up with him, and now both of them are invited to a party, and she is apprehensive as to how the whole meeting will go. So she goes there and she meets up with him, and etc etc etc. Things happen. After the party is over, she's lingering there with her friend, the host, and suddenly The guy, her ex-fiance, is found dead in the parking lot. The police are called in, they rule it as a suicide, but she knows that he would never do something like that, and now she is on this whole quest. Okay, fine. I don't even know where to put this book and my thoughts about this book at this point, only that it pissed me off so much because it kept going in spirals, not even circle, in spirals. There's got to be a structure to a story, okay? Especially a murder mystery. Don't read it. It's just so irritating. You can see I don't have words. Next was the subscriber pick for the month of May. And that was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garments. I've done a full reading vlog for this book. If you'd like to go check that out, link will be here as well as in the description box below. So this is set in the early 1950s and spans a decade, and it follows Elizabeth Zott and her experiences as a scientist and a chemist, but also her experiences with the misogyny of men in academic spaces. And this is such a fantastic book because it's not just a read back into 1950s, it's also funny, and it uses all of its fun and wit and humor to make its serious points. And I love this book. I enjoyed this book so much. I mean, of course, I lost my head at some of the more misogynistic and sexist pieces of garbage, but the point that it makes as a whole is just brilliant. If you'd like to go read this book, let this be your sign. Go read it. It's fantastic. Next was NxN The Beginning by Anil Prabhu. This is also a mystery slash thriller, and there's so much adventure to the story. This is set in the kingdom of Kochi, where the full moon night or the Purnima night is considered inauspicious because a lot of dark crime things have been happening. So on one such night, Aditya finds himself at a point where he can see the sea, and he finds a ship coming and docking at a nearby uninhabited island, and he's very curious. So he rows off there and in order to find out what's happening. So what he finds there is something so intriguing that he keeps going back there every Purnima night. So what exactly is this, and how he manages to rope his friends into it, and how the king of Kochi comes into play, forms this entire story. So this is a fun read. Aditya's experiences, the way he pulls his friends into it, and the way they practice for whatever awaits them, and the food that is mentioned, the intrigue, the political strategy of sorts, and everything, all of this is brought together in a way that is quick and easy to read. But I also felt like the writing fell short on a lot of occasions, and the execution wasn't as great as the premise. And last but not the least was one of my favorite books of 2024, and that was a book that I think you've already seen in a previous video, in a vlog that I did recently, in which I read Booktuber's favorite books, and that book was Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. And this is about two people who are so different from each other coming together, falling in love, and having the most gorgeous relationship ever. Gorgeous, I say, because of the understanding between them. There's always headbutting and there's always some sort of issues, but the way the prose elevates their relationship, it's just mind-blowing, and I loved it. And I don't think I can speak more about this right now without resorting to reading from the book. I'll keep it at that. But this book has fabulous writing. It's a gorgeous love story, such a wonderful love story. I don't want to say anything else because I know I'll spoil it, but even when they are not together, you can feel the heat, you can feel the sparks, the chemistry right off the bat. But even when they are not in that romantic sense, that understanding of each other as friends or as platonic acquaintances, it's just something out of this world. I love this book. It just grabbed my heart and kept it within itself. It's that good. Read it. So those were the books that I read in June 2024. What did you think of this video? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you read any of these books? Which books did you read in June 2024? Did you find any favorites? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.